Hello, everybody, and welcome to Chakras and Cusswords. And this is season 3. So excited to bring this season to you guys. And this season is going to be all about manifestation, mindset, and really stepping into your beliefs, your possibilities, your creation, and creating what it is that is seeking for you or what you are seeking for. When people think of manifesting, they automatically think of something spiritual or woo-woo or crazy like. And in actuality, manifesting and mindset has been something that so many of us do, and we don't even realize we're doing it. We don't even realize that we are manifesting. Manifesting can have some positive outcomes, and it can also have some negative outcomes as well. And when we think of manifesting and controlling the mindset of our own conscious state, and really implementing things, just be knowledgeable that you have the power of changing it. You have the power of creating it, and you have the power of diving into it. And with that, I am excited about this special podcast because this is the introductory podcast to the season. And we are going to touch on a few things. We're going to talk about the witches, those witches, and even just the term witch. And when we think about it, it has so much legacy behind it. It has so much history. It has so much meaning. And it's a tough one. It's a tough one because when people hear the word, it automatically resembles something dark. It automatically resembles something shadowy, something where this moves with intentions of darkness, and this moves with intentions of like this evil aspect. And we're going to take it back. We're going to take it back to just the actual definition of the word, the witch. And what does that mean to so many people? Well, as many of us, we grew up with the notion that there was witches, or they were taught to us in Halloween stories, or they were talked to us in movies, and we saw them, the good witch, the bad witch, Dorothy, and all of the TV series, Sabrina, the Teenage Witch, movies, The Craft, Practical Magic, Hocus Pocus. I mean, the notion that the witches or the witch is somebody who's sitting at home doing all these rituals and doing all this spiritual stuff and is creating and manifesting is really, I would say, almost funny, because there are women who still do this and are still at home manifesting and creating and making shit happen. So are there still modern witches? Yes, 100%. Are they evil and out to get you? No, not necessarily. And I think a lot of times when people think about the witch, it automatically comes with this black, dark cloud of negativity. And let's take it back to the legacy of the witch. Well, as some of you may know, I hope all of you know that in Salem, Massachusetts in 1692, there was a quote unquote witch hunt. It was a not modern day, but it was a witch hunt. And it was basically women who were possibly astrologers, maybe very spiritual, maybe they were manifestors, maybe they were herbalists, or they were known to be witches, and they were known to be practicing witchcraft. And when you think of how do you practice witchcraft, you set a spell on somebody and bad things happen. So society was telling these women that what they were doing, their rituals or spells or what they were doing, was wrong, and they were going to prosecute them and basically hang them. So what this has taught women is that if you aren't in this certain area of what is correct and what is right and what is thought of you to be, you will be labeled a witch. You would be labeled as something dark, something sinister, and something evil. You will be labeled as something that isn't explained. We can't explain this. She's, believes that these herbs are working. She believes that these spells or creations or rituals that she does is working. She's hexing people, or she's looking at the stars for guidance. She doesn't believe in our religion. So we are going to label her a witch. And that has made women, as a woman who has been very, I guess you could say, fascinated with the spiritual side, who's been very fascinated with my own intuition, who's been very fascinated with learning and gaining more. Just now at the age of 43, I've really started to talk about it, where before I kept pushing it back. And the reason why is because I didn't want to be labeled as somebody who was sinister or dark or evil, or I didn't want to be labeled as somebody who was possibly casting spells on people or doing rituals. Have I been doing rituals, and have I been manifesting and creating my own environment and creating my own life for years? 100% yes. Since the very young age of 13, I can remember doing my first ritual, as one might say, or creating intentions or goals to lead me in a certain direction. I have been doing that from a very young age. When you think of stuff that I have manifested on my own, I'm not going to share them with everybody, but they are almost extremely remarkable in the fact where if you to tell me that I can't predict the gender of my child, I would tell you, no, that is not true, for I have already have. So when you think about stuff like that, it really takes you out of this dimension that we're already learning about slowly. It takes us out of our third dimension and brings us onto our fifth. If you can control your mind, you can control anything. And when we think of it like that, it's very powerful, very powerful, very powerful in our own state, very powerful in our own spirit, and very powerful in our own soul. So you're telling me I can create anything I want if I truly do it, and if I truly adapt to it. 100% yes. When your parents told you you can grow up and be anything you want to be, they weren't fucking lying to you. Society has just taught us to believe that notion that we were being lied to and that we couldn't. If we really wanted to achieve something and were able to extinguish our limiting self-beliefs, extinguish our blocks, and extinguish whatever it is, we could create it, as long as we had our mindset in the right direction. So when we think about, as women, the witch and the Salem witch trials, some of us might be feeling over emotional in October, and that's it's right around the time that these trials took place. And a lot of it has to do with ancestral and also taught generational curses, taught DNA bloodlines of being a woman, of being a feminist, of being somebody who feels that we can't speak our mind, or we can't share our gifts, or we can't share our logic, or we can't share who we are because we might be labeled a witch. And it really hinders our thinking process as women. Men have been using mindset and manifestation and entrepreneurship and all of that for years. Women have not had the notion to, because they are fearful to be labeled a witch. They are fearful to tap into their spiritual self because they don't want to step on society's toes and be labeled something that they feel is called, quote unquote, evil or called sinister. So many of us have grown up with witch's wounds. And when you think, what is a witch's wound? It's basically a block, something that's hindering us to accept our true state. How do we know we have a witch's wound? We are not confident to speak about our spiritual practices. We're not confident to speak up. We're not confident to speak on what we see as setting intentions or rituals or practices. We don't feel confident saying, like, I enjoy learning about astrology. I enjoy learning about creating intentions. I enjoy taking a ritual bath. Many of us have day-to-day sustainable rituals that we do that aren't necessarily witchy or aren't necessarily dark and shadowy, but people might be fearful to even talk about them. If you have a witch's wound, there's a most likely sense that you are seeking more. You're seeking more of learning. You're seeking more of guidance. You're seeking more. You don't really understand why you aren't so confident in expressing who you are. Some women will become very emotional during October. That's why I planned on getting this first podcast out to you in October. So how can you heal your witch's wound? Most of the ways to heal your witch's wounds is to heal the confidence that you have of who you are, what makes you who you are. Practice with your throat chakra. A lot of women with the healing of the witch's wound has to practice on healing their whole chakra system, healing who they are in the notion that they can be different. For a long time, I heard from people in my family, that's not how women your age act. That's not what other moms are doing. That's not what, other moms aren't on social media doing TikToks. You're kind of really woo-woo. And it's because society has given us this notion of what's right and what's wrong. How are moms supposed to act? How are women in their 40s supposed to act? How is all of this supposed to make any sense? Stop seeking for it to make sense and start doing what's right for you. That's one way to heal your witch's wound, is to not be concerned of how society thinks of you, how others think of you. I remember the first time I started to introduce tarot into my Instagram. I knew back maybe like a year ago that I was going to start to get more real on here and get more spiritually attuned and more open to who I am. For the most part, it took a long time to do it. And when I was creating content, there was a lot of times I would have content that I wouldn't want to share because I would say, this is too fucking witchy. They ain't gonna get this shit. They ain't gonna understand it, honey. This is too witchy for them. And I've had to say, fuck it. Fuck it, fuck it, fuck it, fuck it. I'm going to let it show. I'm going to let it show. Like I said, I've been dipping and dabbing in astrology, dipping and dabbing in intentions and manifestations since the young age of 13. I think one of the first few books I bought was the Amy Fisher story and a witchcraft book. That's the kind of kid I was. So it took a while to have enough courage to show who I was. I remember when my husband first met me, he probably didn't realize that I was kind of, gothy. I was a gothy chola. I was a gothy Bay Area kid who didn't know who she was, but knew if she wanted to set some intentions to create a beautiful life, I could. Maybe that's what he saw, my ability to manifest this beautiful, beautiful reality that we live in now. So I am so excited to talk about this next season of manifestation. I have some amazing guests on here. And for those who are asking about being on the podcast, you can always email me, but I want to do a little chakra base, I guess you could say, flow through, because we're going to talk about our witch's wound and we're going to talk about healing it. And I honestly would say, if you are going to heal your witch's wound, to do it through the chakra philosophy and do it through that way. And the reason why is because it touches on all of the elements. It touches on all of the bases of who we are. So we are going to do a little quick energy session real quick. And it's going to be through the chakra system on tapping into our witch's wound and tapping into healing our witch's wound. Okay. So here we go. So we are going to concentrate on our root, for we are safe and we are stable and we are able to bring clarity and light, for our foundation is strong. And we are in love with who we are. And we are going to move this energy and this healing up to our sacral. For we feel our passion, we feel our desires, we feel our intimacy, and we feel our worth. We are grounded in our creativity. We are going to move to our solar plex. We have the power to give. We have the power to create. We have the power of our alignment, for we are safe in our passions and our power stays firm. Take it up to our heart. For we trust who we are and we trust who we love. For those love us for who we are and those trust us for who we are. And we trust others for they will not harm us, and those who seek harm upon us will not move further, for our heart is pure. For we are safe, we are passionate, and we have power, for our heart is pure. Taking it to the throat. For we can speak what we want because others listen to our words. For we can speak who we are, for we are divine. For we could speak our truths, for our truths are seen. For what we create is what we are worth, and what we are worth, we create. For we are safe because our roots are strong. For we are passionate, for our power is within. For we are divine because our heart is true. And we have confidence in what we create. Our third eye. We see the world for what it is, and we see it for what we feel. We see our intuitions and our intents are set in stone as we move. We move with divine, for we are. For we are safe. We have passion. We have power. We have heart. We have confidence to speak our truths, for we are seekers of our intentions and truth. And now for our crown. For we are wise in the wisdom we are told, for we seek knowledge and give it so it is bold. We move forward in our intentions, for the universe hears us through. We are the ones who will heal this witch's wound. For we are safe and we have passion. We bring power and we sit with intentions. Our heart is pure and our confidence is safe, for we speak our truths and set our intentions. For we see the universe and the universe sees us back, so we feel the love to heal each other back. So thank you guys for clearing your witch's wound, and I hope you enjoy season 3. Thank you for listening to Chakras and Cuss Words. Please comment, like, and subscribe.